Hey everybody, this is Brian with Bear Cards 34, back with the final edition of the show and tell for 1990 Topps and Friends, where we take a deep dive into the players and the sets and the teams from 1990. These are very nostalgic videos for me. This is my childhood. I loved this era, and so it's a lot of fun for me to go back and take a look at these. Now, these are longer videos, so I really appreciate it if you guys are into this kind of stuff, and stay tuned. So at the end, as always, I will be ripping a pack of 1990 Topps football. And then I have a giveaway for this video just as a thank you for everyone who watches these. So stay tuned. After I rip the pack of cards, I will show the giveaway and what I'm giving away. And we'll go ahead and get into it now. I'm going to start off with this 1990 starting lineup of Neil Anderson. I hadn't shown any of the starting lineup cards. I think I only have a couple from 1990, so wanted to show the Neil Anderson. I believe these also come with a rookie year card where it's a photo of them from their first year. So that was pretty cool that they did that for the 1990 edition. And in the middle there is a score card. That is the Score 25 card. So the Super Bowl started in 1967, and in January of 91, that was going to be the 25th Super Bowl. So on the back of that card, it has a list of the other 24 Super Bowls with their scores, as well as all of the MVPs of those Super Bowls. Now, ProSet made two Paul Tagliabue cards. I think I may have shown the Commissioner card in an earlier video, but it also has this one of Tagliabue at the Berlin Wall. That was during August of 1990 when he did a trip to Germany, just to kind of preview the 1990 American Bowl series where the NFL was playing in other countries. And there was a game in Berlin, which was the first football game for the NFL in Germany ever. Okay, so we've got two teams today. The first one is the 1990 Atlanta Falcons, who went 3-13 in 1989, and the year these cards came out, 1990, they improved to 5-11. Jerry Glanville was hired, and that was his first year as the head coach. And the ProSet card talks about the Falcons being back in black. For that 25th anniversary of the team, they returned to the original black jerseys and black helmets, and they actually have a picture of the black helmet right there. Jerry Glanville was quite a character. He's known for a lot of funny comments. I know one of those was the NFL stands for not for long, which had to do with a referee who I think had been a college referee the year before, and he bumped up into the NFL, and he disagreed with one of his calls, and he mentioned in a press conference to that referee that the NFL stood for not for long if you're going to make those kind of calls. So definitely brought a lot of energy to the Falcons. We have the team card there with Jesse Tuggle falling on a fumble. Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. And while he's not a Hall of Famer, he was very, very good. We have Andre Rison. That is his first Falcons card. If you remember earlier in the videos series, he was traded from the Colts. We also had Chris Hinton, who was a part of that trade, came over to the Falcons. Another great player, and he was also traded there from the Colts. And we also have Mike Rozier, former Heisman Trophy winner, who came over. And Rozier actually had a pretty good year that first season with the team. I think he ran for around 700 yards in the 13 games he played for them. He was traded early in the season, and so he was another pickup who had a pretty good history there. A lot of young talent on the Atlanta team, obviously Deion Sanders, but we also have receiver Sean Collins, quarterback Chris Miller. It looks like he's doing a punt there maybe. And they also had Andre Bruce, who was a former first pick of the draft. So the Score Young Superstars cards are pretty great. I really enjoyed getting that set back when I was a kid. They had one Pro Bowl card, that was guard Bill Fralick, and he also had a Collectabooks card from ProSet. So one thing that was quite noticeable, or notable I should say, Jeff George was the #1 pick of the draft, and prior to the draft, ProSet was trying to figure out who would take George, and so they made a couple of potential cards for him, and one of the possible destinations was going to be the Atlanta Falcons. So ProSet did make an Atlanta Falcons #1 draft pick for Jeff George. And same thing was also true with the very talented linebacker Keith McCants, who was drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But he was a potential #1 pick as well, and so Pro Set had made a Falcons card for him with the number 1 overall pick as well. Now, the Falcons did have a lot of talent on the team. Their draft picks that year were not quite the great ones they were hoping for. Steve Broussard, who he played 9 years in his career, including a couple fairly successful ones with Seattle, but he was pretty much a backup running back. He never had more than 500 yards rushing in a season, but he was great at Washington. He was the 20th pick of the draft. Darian Connor had a 10-year career. In 94, he had 10.5 sacks, but overall wasn't really considered quite the dominant player they were hoping for. Houston Hoover didn't do too much in the NFL. We also had Oliver Barnett. I think he played 5 or 6 years in the league, but they did make a few of those rookie cards for their players. Now, a guy who had his rookie cards made in 1990 who was very impactful, and it wasn't his rookie year, but his rookie cards, that was Jesse Tuggle. He was fantastic. He is a very underrated linebacker. He was nicknamed the Hammer. He played at UFA, which was a Division II school, Valdosta State in Georgia for UFA. He had a 14-year career, all with the Falcons. He was a tackling machine. I mean, this guy tackled. I remember I had looked in from 1991 through 1992, just those 2 seasons. He had 408 combined tackles, including over 200 each of those years. He was very, very good. Best year was 1998, where he was a second-team All-Pro, and he was on some pretty poor Falcons teams, and then by 98, he was in the Super Bowl against the Broncos, so it was really nice to see him have that kind of success. Very popular with Falcons fans, and he ended his career with 1,640 tackles, 21 sacks, 6 interceptions, 10 fumble recoveries, 5 of which went for touchdowns, which was an NFL record at the time. So great player there, and a handful of rookie cards that he had that year. And I do want to mention the Pro Set design here. I think that 1990 Pro Set just did such a great job with the full photos in the middle of the card, but with those team colors on the card. I thought they looked fantastic. And with Jesse Tuggle there, I think that's a great example of just how good the cards can look when they're done right. Michael Haynes had 2 rookie cards in 1990. He was drafted by the Falcons in 1988 in the 7th round out of Northern Arizona. He had 1 game in 1989 where he had 190 receiving yards against Washington, and he had a very good career. He had over 6,000. He had 6,600 yards, 47 touchdowns. His best year was 1991 with the, let's see, too legit to quit. This is the quit, right? Did you guys ever see that? The too legit to quit? MC Hammer, he was a big fan. So the Falcons had like MC Hammer, Evander Holyfield, Travis Tritt, all these celebrities who really got into the Falcons. 1991 was just a really fun team, a lot of fun to watch with Andre Rison and Deion and Glanville and all that stuff. And so in 91, Michael Haynes had almost, I think it was like over 1,100 yards. He had 11 touchdowns. And he had the NFL lead of 22.4 yards per catch that season. He played 94 through 96 with the New Orleans Saints. That was his hometown. He was born in New Orleans. And then he went back to the Falcons to finish up his career for the 97 season. And he was a very fast player. He was a track star in college. I had read that back in 1988, he was in the Olympic trials, the ones that Carl Lewis won, and he competed in that. All right, next up we've got Tim Green. He started back in 1986. He was the 17th pick of the first round out of Syracuse. He was a 2-time academic All-American. He played 8 years with Atlanta. He had injuries a lot his first 3 years, but by 1989, he was really on fire. He had 111 tackles, 5 quarterback sacks. So he had a fairly good career when he was healthy. And then after football, he got into TV and radio. He even became a broadcaster and was hosting A Current Affair and also some NPR shows. And he wrote dozens of novels, including a young adult sports series. He had many books on the New York Times bestseller list. And he was an attorney. I mean, he had a really, really impressive life. I incorrectly thought that Tim Green had passed away. However, Tony Black, my buddy, let me know he was alive, absolutely. I think where that came from was he has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and has been battling that for a few years now. I think that's probably what was in my mind at the time. So unfortunately, he's going through quite a health battle at the moment, but he has definitely had a very impressive, successful life. So Tim Green rookie cards right there. Okay, last up for the Falcons, we've got Brian Jordan. Along with having a great first name, he was also a very talented athlete. He was a seventh-round draft pick in 1989 by the Buffalo Bills, interestingly enough. However, he did not make the team. He broke his leg in the Senior Bowl, and that did drop him in the draft somewhat, and then he didn't pick up with the Bills. So the Atlanta Falcons signed him. They claimed him off waivers 5 days before the season opener, and he made the team, and he was a very successful player for them. So in 1988, I believe, or maybe it was 89. No, it was 89. He was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in Major League Baseball. So he was one of two players for the Falcons who was playing both in the NFL and pro baseball as well. And, you could put him there with Bo Jackson. These three were all playing both football and baseball, and I thought that was just so cool to see that. I'd love to see that again someday for sure. He was playing in the Cardinals minor league system at the time, along with the Falcons, and then started becoming quite successful with baseball in his own right. And I don't have a lot of baseball cards, but I do have a Brian Jordan right here. I kind of like that it's like he's running from football to baseball, which is exactly what he did. In 1991, that was his final year in the NFL. He led the Falcons in tackles that year, and he was a Pro Bowl alternate. But in June of 92, he signed a really big contract with St. Louis, and so he decided to retire from football, and he went on to play baseball through 2006 for the Cardinals, the Braves, the Dodgers, the Rangers. Then he went back to the Braves for his final 2 years. He had 184 home runs, 821 RBIs, and in 1999, he was an all-star. So again, just a very, very successful athlete, and some of you guys who follow baseball might be more familiar with him there, but a very talented defensive back in the NFL as well. Final team for the showcase is the 1990 Cowboys, who in 1989, Jimmy Johnson's first season, they only went 1-15. However, they improved to 7-9 the next year under new coach Jimmy Johnson and owner Jerry Jones. They were really building momentum for a really amazing 1990s run. There was also Tom Landry getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. He coached the Cowboys for 29 years and was just fantastic. There's also this score Hall of Famer card as well. And we do have Hall of Famer Troy Aikman's top super rookie as part of the top set. Interestingly enough, Michael Irvin did not have a card made in 1990 for Topps. He did have a few other brands that made his card. He was injured in 89 and the first part of 90, so maybe that had something to do with it. And he's not in the Hall of Fame, but I love this Ed Too Tall Jones card. He retired after the 89 season, but 1990 Pro Set made that card of him. And he was just an awesome, awesome player. Really loved him for many, many years. And he played 220 games, which was a Cowboys record. I think it still is. And then, not at all a Hall of Famer, but he's a Hall of Famer for me. He's a Chicago Bear for part of the Bears 85 team. Dennis McKinnon moved over in Plan B free agency to play for the Cowboys. Then we also had a Troy Aikman Young Superstars card. Pro Set made the MVP Super Bowl players, and Chuck Howley, despite the team losing, had 2 interceptions and won the MVP. They lost 16-13 to the Colts of Baltimore. They also had a lot of Super Bowl Supermen card, including Cliff Harris, Mel Renfro, Chuck Howley, Leroy Jordan. We had Randy White, one of my favorites, Bob Lilly. As you can see, they were very successful in the Super Bowls during those first 25 years. Harvey Martin, then we got another Ed Too Tall Jones. We've got John Nyland. And I should mention, too, I thought that was pretty cool how co-MVPs there, and I love the artwork for these cards. Rayfield Wright, Roger Staubach, and then one more Coach Landry card. Great picture right there. They also had Super Bowl Super Moments. We have this one right here. So Jackie Smith, the tight end, who unfortunately dropped that wide open pass in a really critical game that they lost by 4 points to. And another one that was pretty interesting was this one right here. Percy Howard. They made a note of this because it was interesting. He caught, it was a 34-yard touchdown catch in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl, and it was his only NFL career catch ever. We also had some All-Madden cards. So John Madden, definitely a fan of the Cowboys, and he liked Troy Aikman, the great Nate Newton, And this guy right here, Jeff Zimmerman, this is his only like major sports card that he ever had. Didn't play very much. In fact, I think that was his final season as well, but must have impressed John Madden with his toughness. So it's cool that he has that card made as well. We also had a Pro Set Collectabook of Troy Aikman. And the first rookie we'll talk about just real briefly here, Tony Tolbert. He was a 4th-round pick in '89 out of UTEP. He made the '89 All-Rookie team. His best year was '96, where he had 12 quarterback sacks. He went to the Pro Bowl. He's a part of all 3 of those Super Bowl championship teams for Dallas. And he had a 9-year career all with the Cowboys. So a good player there in his only rookie card, along with the Topps Tiffany version of that as well. Next up, we've got 3 Ken Norton Jr. cards, including the Fleer update on the right there. Now, he's Ken Norton Jr. because his father, Ken Norton, was a boxing world heavyweight champion, Ken Norton. And Ken Norton Jr. was known for his celebration, punching the goalposts, and kind of doing boxing moves on the field, which was a tribute to his dad. He won back-to-back Super Bowls with the Cowboys, including getting a touchdown in Super Bowl 27. And then he signed with the 49ers for the '94 season, and they won a Super Bowl. So that made him the first player to win 3 straight Super Bowls, and I think he's still the only one to have done that. So he was a 2nd-round draft pick out of UCLA, an All-American back in '88. He even played tailback in high school, and he had a great 13-year career. As a rookie, he broke his thumb and mostly played on special teams, but then he earned a starting spot his 2nd year and just went on to have a really great career. Almost 1,300 tackles, 3 Super Bowls, 3 Pro Bowls. He was the Seahawks defensive coordinator until 2021, and now he's a linebacker coach over at UCLA. Next up, we've got Kelvin Martin, known as Kmart. He was a 4th-round pick in '87 out of Boston College, where he was an All-American back in '85. Very talented return specialist, really good receiver. There were some concerns over his size, so he kind of dropped a bit in the draft, but he won a Super Bowl with the Cowboys and was mostly a return specialist right at the start, but then he ended up becoming very successful with the Cowboys as a receiver. In 1989, he led the team in receiving, even though he missed the entire last month of football because of injuries, and he was on his way potentially to a 1,000-yard season that year. And then in 1990, he also led the team in receiving. A couple other rookie cards of him right there. So he has 4 total. But a really talented player, played with the Seahawks in '93. In 1992, he was an All-Pro return specialist. So definitely a successful player in his own right. Next up is Alexander Wright. He was really, really fast, and that's why I kind of included him here. He was the first pick of the 2nd round in 1990 out of Auburn, and Auburn coach Pat Dye had said he's a game breaker and he's a game winner. He played 7 years with the Cowboys, Raiders, and Rams, and the reason I decided to feature him was that he was the NFL's fastest man twice in 1992 and 1993. In '94, he had a really nice 76-yard reception touchdown. He also had a 90-yard kickoff return as a rookie in only his 2nd game, where he was basically untouched and went 90 yards to the house. So very talented speed burner there. Now, someone that a lot of you may be familiar with nowadays, if you're watching football games, is Daryl Moose Johnston. I remember in the games, the crowd, whenever you got the ball, would yell Moose, and you'd kind of hear that. Almost sounded like a boo, but it wasn't. He was the 39th pick in 1989, where he was an All-American at Syracuse. He played 10 years as fullback with Dallas, and he got his nickname Moose from backup quarterback Babe Laufenberg during his rookie season. And the reason for that was when he was around all the other running backs, he just looked so much bigger than the rest, and Babe kind of considered him like this giant moose. He was a great fullback, just very great fullback, good at special teams. He even had 2,200 yards receiving and a great blocker for another guy on the team that you may have heard of as well. He made the Pro Bowl twice in '93 and '94, and he's a part of those 3 Super Bowl championships with the Cowboys as well. He retired in '97 after a neck injury, but definitely had a very, very good career. So this was his only rookie card along with the Topps Tiffany, so it's a good one to have if you're a fan of his for sure. Then we've got Jimmy Jones. He was a 3rd-round pick out of Miami, kind of getting reunited with his old coach, Jimmy Johnson. So he was a great teammate of Cortez Kennedy. They were just terrifying at Miami on the line. And the defensive line coach at Miami told a story of when Jimmy Jones was a freshman, on the scout team, he was playing against the first team, and they couldn't block him. He was knocking Vinny Testaverde all over the place, so they knew they had someone good for that team. Now, he was a two-time Super Bowl champion. He also was a 1990 All-Rookie Team member, and he was known for a fumble recovery. I don't know if you guys remember this, but in the Super Bowl, Charles Haley hit Jim Kelly, knocked the ball out of his hand, and Jones caught it in air and ran 2 or 3 yards in for a touchdown. One of 2 fumble recoveries he had in the game, which tied a Super Bowl record. He also played with the Rams and the Eagles as well, so a talented player there for sure. And I think that'll do it. I can't think of any other Cowboys rookies from that year that would have been very noticeable or notable. There's this guy, Emmitt Smith. You may have heard of him. Now, I'm a big fan of Emmitt Smith. He was fantastic, and I opened a lot of Pro Set, and I sure picked up a bunch of these in packs. So I never purchased an Emmitt Smith rookie card, but I would open pack after pack after pack, and I would just get card after card after card. And one thing that's a shame with this quote-unquote, junk wax era is, were these a little more rare, that would be really nice for me with all those. But anyway, I love collecting Emmitt Smith rookie cards. I have a bunch of these Pro Sets. I've given a couple away, but I definitely am a fan of this set for sure, and his rookie cards. Great player there. I'll kind of show some of the other rookies. Along with Pro Set, we've got the Fleer update and the score update. And what's notable there, as well as, we have the tops traded. So these are all cards that you cannot get in packs. The tops traded was a box, Fleer updates a box, score updates a box as well. Really wish I had as many score update rookies as I do Pro Set rookies, but what are you going to do? They also had him featured. Now this one you can get in packs. This is the Action Packed. So Pro Set and Action Packed you can get in those packs for sure. And they also have this really cool, he was the only rookie featured in that, but the All Madden team from 1990 did include Emmitt Smith as well. And another really cool one was card number 800, and there are 2 of these. I showed the Mark Carrier before, but they also have this Pro Set Offensive Rookie of the Year card of Emmitt. Now, he was from Florida. He had a great career at Florida from 87 to 89. Was Florida's all-time leading rusher. I don't know if he still is, but he might be. So going into college, there was one college recruit who said, quote, "He's a lugger, not a runner. He's not fast. He can't get around the corner. When he falls flat on his face, remember where you heard it first." And where you heard it first was from a guy named Max Emfinger. Don't know that guy, but I'm sure he got a lot of flack for that quote. There was actually an article from the Orlando Sentinel a decade ago talking about how Emmitt Smith is the reason why you should never trust recruiting experts. They definitely got it wrong in this case anyway. He went on to become a unanimous All-American in 1989, part of the Florida Ring of Honor, 3-time first-team All-SEC, and he only played 3 years there. He left after his junior year, and he was the 17th pick by the Cowboys, who were considering drafting James Francis, who went to the Bengals, and so they wanted to address the running back position and picked up Emmitt Smith, thankfully for Cowboys fans. Now, Emmitt missed the preseason in 1990 due to a holdout, but he started 15 games. He had 937 yards, 11 touchdowns, Offensive Rookie of the Year. His big game that year was on Thanksgiving of 1990 against the Cardinals. He had 103 yards and 4 touchdowns. In 91, he was the NFL's rushing leader, and he did that 4 times. His best year was 92, where he had 1,713 yards, which was a Cowboys record, and a Super Bowl victory. He had 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. His final 2 years with the Cardinals didn't pan out quite as well. He only averaged 3.2 yards per carry. He retired in 2005 and signed a one-day contract with Dallas. But he was the NFL's all-time leading receiver, surpassing my guy Walter Payton. And although that hurt, and although I think Barry would be the leading rusher of all time if he had chosen to play as long, you can't deny Emmitt Smith's greatness. He is the leading rusher of all time, and just a great guy. And if somebody was going to break Walter's record, and it wasn't Barry, I'm glad it was Emmitt. He finished with 18,355 yards, 4.2 yards per carry, 164 rushing touchdowns, 175 total touchdowns, which is second to Jerry Rice, who had 208. And he's one of only 4 players in the 21,000 all-purpose yards club. Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, and Brian Mitchell of Washington are the other ones. So anyway, just a great Pro Football Hall of Fame career, part of the 100th anniversary all-time team, 3 Super Bowl championships, a Super Bowl MVP, 8 Pro Bowls. Can't say enough good things about this guy. And I want to finish with this. This is the Pro Set Super Bowl art cards. These were inserts that would come in packs, and when you put it all together, and it's a little bit separated because of the folder here, the page, but this is just really beautiful, and it just has a little bit from everything. You got the Bears, Packers, Bart Starr, Lombardi, Rozelle, Marcus Allen, just a lot of really cool stuff here. So that's a fun little subset, insert set to have as well. And I still have this ad of Pro Set from back in the day. You know, a good thing just got better. So a fun little advertisement from Pro Set from back. All right, so let's go ahead and rip this last pack, and then I will tell you about the giveaway. So our final pack of 1990 Topps Football. I'd love to get like a Junior Seau or Cortez Kennedy rookie card. Some of those, you know, the Hall of Famers. So first off, we've got, nice, that's a cool Hall of Fame 1,000-yard club card of Andre Reed. Drew Hill, very talented receiver. Rodney Hampton rookie card, nice. Thurman Thomas, another Hall of Famer right there. Bubby Brister team card. Ernest Biner. Ruben Mays. Willie Flipper Anderson record breaker card. Chris Spielman, just loved him. Pat Leahy. Freddie Joe Nunn, who was really good as well. Haywood Jeffries. Ron Stark. Jack Trudeau, Winston Moss, and Mike Pitts to wrap it up. So a couple Hall of Famers, some nice cards there. And the Rodney Hampton rookie is pretty good as well. Okay, so for the giveaway. Similar to last year's, I'd just like you guys in the comments to let me know which of the designs for 1990 which one was your favorite. So we've got Score, Fleer, Topps, Action Packed, and Pro Set. So let me know which one's your favorite. Now, if you don't want to be included in the giveaway, I'd still love to know what your favorite is, so definitely let me know. But just let me know that you don't want to be in the giveaway. If you do want to be in the giveaway, make sure in your comment that you say which one is your favorite. That's the key for being in the giveaway. And I'll do it like I typically do with the cards, or the names all put in a hat, and I just kind of randomly pick one out. And then I will be doing this. It'll be in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, which is Sunday. So it'll be, 2 weeks in, 2 Sundays into April. Okay, so this is what the giveaway is. You're going to get a Neil Anderson 1,000-yard club. Some good players from back in the day. Sterling Sharp, Christian Okoye, this Super Bowl MVP of Doug Williams, and then some Hall of Famers. Steve Atwater, Jerry Rice Pro Bowl, Montana, Rice, a couple of nice Deions, Troy Aikman, Mike Singletary, Derek Thomas, Defensive Player of the Year, Jim Kelly, Crunch Crew of Derek Thomas, art card of Singletary, Howie Long, Ronnie Lott, Kevin Green, Charles Haley, Dermonte Dawson, got a Tim Brown, Steve Young Pro Set, Hot Gun cards of Joe Montana and John Elway, couple of cool Bo cards, including his Ground Force, and then some rookie cards from that year. So I'm going to give away Barry Foster, Dennis Byrd rookie, Johnny Johnson, Andre Ware, my guy Scott Mitchell, Rodney Hampton, Jeff George since he was the first pick, and then a couple of really good ones, Cortez Kennedy Score and Pro Set, Junior Seau Score and Pro Set, and one of my Emmitt Smith cards, Pro Set rookie card of Emmitt Smith as well. So I'm going to be giving those away. For those of you who want to join the entry, go ahead and comment favorite card from that year. And comment just in general. I love talking with you guys. Thanks so much. And as always, go Bears.